world's fastest runner could be one of the richest runners as well. Jamaican superstar sprinter Usain Bolt has extended his contract with PUMA. The German sportswear company has sponsored Bolt since 2003. Bolt holds the world records for the 100 and 200 meters and is an Olympic champion in both events. The specific figures haven't been released yet, but PUMA says it's the largest payday of any track and field athlete.
Well, you know, Pauline, PUMA saw something special in Usain Bolt back in 2003. As you mentioned, that's when it started sponsoring the Jamaican star when he was just 16 years old. Bolt will play a pivotal role in PUMA's marketing for the 2012 Olympic Games in London. I got some insight on the deal from PUMA's CEO, Jochen Zeitz.
Very important. Usain is one of the true global iconic sports stars in the world that transcends from the track all the way into lifestyle and really engages his fans in an amazing manner. So, you know, he's that one that is not just of interest when he's performing, but also as a true personality, as a sports personality, and therefore leading up to 2012 and the Track and Field World Championships in South Korea next year, the next 2 years will be very important.
How much do you think he can do for the company going into 2012? Can you quantify it at all?
Well, you know, last estimates when he was running his world records in Berlin during the last World Championships, as well as in Beijing when he won 3 times gold, the media value was in the hundreds of millions. So, you know, his exposure is tremendous. And that also translates into sales at a later stage. It's great for the image, but it's also contributing positively to sales.
You've not revealed a figure for this deal, I realize, of course, but give us a sense. How big is it? I mean, it really puts him out there in front, doesn't it, in terms of track and field?
Well, certainly this is the biggest contract ever signed in the history of track and field. So it brings track and field to the forefront, and he can certainly compete with some of the best athletes in the world in other sports as well.
More than 1.5 million?
Yeah, well, yes, you can guess that it's going to be a lot more than that.
All right. We'll leave it at that. Bolt is taking the rest of the season out, right? He's nursing a back problem, says he's being cautious, he's being careful. How much risk is there to the company really putting, you know, some big money behind one particular star?
Well, he's a great personality, whether he competes or doesn't. Wherever he shows up, whether he DJs at big events, you know, he draws a huge crowd. So he's really an athlete that, whether he performs or not, he has a huge pull, and that's a tremendous asset because we can not only use his speed but also his personality to market our product, and that's very important to us. Of course, we hope that the best is yet to come from Usain, and next year and the year after will be very important years, and that's why we really support him in his decision not to take a risk and a chance at the end of the season now and play safe in order to be ready for the future.
Tell me about the World Cup, Mr. Zeitz. The company had a pretty decent-looking Q2. At the time, the company was saying that the World Cup was going to make a great big difference. How good was it?
Well, it was positive. Of course, I would have hoped that an African team could have made it to at least the semifinals. That didn't happen, but that's how it goes in sport. We were quite pleased with the overall results. Our sales in the soccer category increased double digits, so that was a good performance. But we still had to compete with some tough comps in terms of sales with the previous year. We hope that our sales will grow in the second half of this year, and we are well on track.
What is your growth forecast? I know the company's been reluctant at times to go too far out in front, but what are you hoping for?
Well, for the full year, we expect sales to grow in the low to mid-single digits. That's the guidance we gave with the half-year result, and that's the guidance we stick by today.
Where are we, Mr. Zeitz, in your view, in this global recession?
Well, it's hard to say. I always say I'm not the weatherman and I can't predict economic growth at all. I'm just good enough to forecast maybe the next few quarters for PUMA, but it's hard to say, really. I think we've seen some recovery. Some countries are showing strong improvements. Overall, it's still a fragile recovery, and we'll just have to wait and see. I think one still needs to be cautious, but overall, things are improving.
Jochen Zeitz there speaking to me earlier, the CEO of PUMA. It is good to have Patrick Snell here at this very moment because, Patrick, you heard him talk about Usain's, the extension of this deal. The original deal was rumored to be worth about $1.5 million. He's saying it's north of that. Won't say how much. That's a lot of money for a runner.
He's everything that athletics is about. He's young, he's got a great personality, he loves jetting in and out of these cities like London. That's where he's ideal in the build-up to the English Olympics in 2012. He's great, he's fun for the sport. I was in Jamaica earlier this year, Colleen, and he's everywhere. All the billboards, everywhere you turn, it's Usain Bolt. And it's just, he's great, he's just great for the sport.
Yeah,
he's a talent as well. And I remember our colleague, my friend Mark McKay, was speaking to him recently, or semi-recently, and the size difference. Mark's tall, but Usain Bolt just towers over everyone, and he's quick with it as well. And I just think he's the face of the sport. PUMA have clearly realized that, and he's going to be around for quite some time to come.
How's his back, though? Let me jump in now.
That's interesting, and I think back, when you've got height and back connected, you can take no risks. And that's why if he is taking time out purely to rest, purely to recover, then that is extremely wise. He's getting good medical attention, I'm quite sure.
Okay.